Hello. Well, I'm going to continue with some of the Easter readings and beginning with the road to Emmaus from Luke's Gospel. The same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles away from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. And as they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked with them. But they didn't recognise him. That's what we do, isn't it, after a traumatic time, is we talk it over with people. We try and make sense of it. And Jesus came up with them and stood and walked with them, and they didn't recognise him. And I wonder in what form Jesus approaches us in our daily lives, and we fail to recognise him. Because he comes in so many ways and in so many guises. In this case, he came, as he often does, as the stranger, unknown. Now, we're often quite wary of strangers, and yet maybe the strangers who we meet have something to say to us of God. Maybe they are God himself, come in person to speak to us, as he did that day on the road to Emmaus. So to continue. He asked them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" And at this they stood still, with their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you only a visitor to Jerusalem, and do not know the things that have happened these days?" "What things?" he asked. "About Jesus of Nazareth," they both replied. "He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we had hoped he was the one to redeem Israel. And what's more, it's the 3rd day since this took place. And even more, in addition, some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb early this morning, but they didn't find a body. They came and told us they'd had a vision of angels who said he was alive. Then some of our companions went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said. But him they did not see." And sometimes it's like that, isn't it? When we're traumatised and lots of things coming at us from all directions, we have to spill it out and we say, "And there's this, and did you know? And then this happened." And I think certainly we're seeing this at the moment with the coronavirus. We have the daily news updates, then we have the stuff in the papers, we have the things on social media, some of which are true, some are not. And like these two disciples, Cleopas and the other disciple, who was quite possibly Cleopas's wife, walking together back to their home, they didn't know what to make of it and what was true and what wasn't, and they're running these things over in their minds. How like us today. So to continue, he said to them, "How foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Christ have to suffer these things to enter into his glory?" And then, beginning with Moses and the prophets, he explained to them all that was said in scriptures concerning himself. Wow, the best Bible study ever. As they approached the village to which they were going, Jesus acted as though he would go further, but they urged him strongly, "No, stay with us, for it's nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went and stayed with them. And Jesus stays with us, and we can be aware of his presence whenever we ask him. Now, I think he stays with us anyway, whether we ask him or not, but it's when we ask that we become more aware of that fact. Hospitality is a great thing, and entertaining the stranger, we learn from Paul, sometimes we entertain angels unawares. Well, these people entertained the Son of God unawares, the risen Lord Jesus. When he was at the table with them, he took bread and gave thanks. He broke it and began to give it to them. and their eyes were opened and they recognised him. And then he disappeared from their sight. How like Jesus! We suddenly recognise and see him, but he doesn't stay put. No, he calls us like the lover in the Song of Solomon. Come after me, come higher. He beckons us to continue. Call me, draw me, and we will run after you. They asked each other, did not our hearts burn within us as he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us? And so often, it's when we reflect, when we think back, that we realise that Jesus has been with us all the time, all along. A bit like Joseph even, on his journey when he laid at Bethel. And he said, surely God was in this place and I did not know. So surely God is in this place with us, whether we know it or not. That Easter hope continues throughout our lives, and we can encounter these sacred moments like the breaking of the bread at Emmaus, sacred moments in the everyday that are completely unexpected and unplanned, and nevertheless Christ comes to us.